Hey guys, welcome back to another video on laws of indices. In the previous video, we did index form, which is a prerequisite for laws of indices. First law that we'll take a look at today is raising a number to the power of 0. So any number that we raise to the power of 0 will always give us a result of 1. So any number that we choose to raise to the power of 0 will give us 1. Our second law is multiplication. Multiplication tells us that if we're multiplying two numbers written in index form, if the bases are the same, we keep the base and add the powers. Now let's take a look at example 1, where we have 2 raised to the 5th power multiplied by 2 cubed. Now, first we identify that the bases are the same, so we know that we're going to keep the base and add the powers. So this is going to be 5 plus 3. So our final answer, we're keeping our answer in index form, so our final answer is 2 raised to the 8th power. Now, for the second example, we have 3 cubed multiplied by 3 raised to the negative 7th power. So what we need to do here, we keep the base and we add the powers, which is 3 plus, in bracket we're going to have negative 7. Now this is equal to 3. Now we need to get rid of the double sign, so positive and negative is going to give us negative. So our final answer is 3 raised to the power of negative 4. Now for our final example here, we see that the bases are the same, so we keep the base and we add the powers, which is negative 4 plus 4. So our final answer here is 5 raised to the power of 0. Now, even though we're asked to leave our answer in index form, 5 raised to the power of 0 is the same thing as? Very good. It is the same thing as 1. Any number raised to the power of 0 is always equal to 1. Our third law is division, which tells us that if we're multiplying two numbers written in index form, if the bases are the same, we keep the base and we subtract the two powers. Now, for example, when we have here 8 raised to the power of 6 divided by 8 raised to the power of 4, we see that the bases are the same, so we keep the base and we subtract the power. So we're going to have 8 raised to the power of 6 minus 4, which is equal to 8 squared. Now we follow the same concept for the second example, where we have 5 raised to the power of negative 3 divided by 5 raised to the power of negative 2. So we keep the base and we subtract the powers. So we're going to have negative 3 minus, open bracket, negative 2. 5 raised to the power of negative 3 plus 2. So our final answer here is 5 raised to the power of negative 1. So for our final example, we see that the base, they have the same base, so we keep the base. The operation is division, so we know that we're going to subtract the two powers. So we're going to have 6 minus, open bracket, negative 3. So this is equal to 7 raised to the power of 6 plus 3. So our final answer is 7 raised to the power of 9. The next law tells us that if we have a power that is raised to another power, we keep the base and we multiply the powers. Now, for example, here we have 5 cubed, which is raised to the power of 4. Now, this is the same thing as 5 cubed multiplying by itself 4 times. Now, we just covered multiplication, so we know that if the bases are the same, we keep the base and we add the powers. Now, instead of doing it this long way, this rule tells us that if a power is raised to another power, we keep the base. So here all we have to do is keep the base and we multiply the powers, which is 3 and 4. So we multiply the powers here, which is 3 multiplied by 4. So therefore we have 5 raised to the power of 12. So instead of doing it the long way, it will still be correct, but we utilize this rule. Now for a second example that is here, we have 2 raised to the power of 4, or 2 raised to the 4th power, now which is raised to the power of 6. So all we need to do is keep the base, and we multiply 4 and 6. So our final answer here is 2 raised to the power of 24. Now we follow the same concept for the final example. So we keep the base, which is 5, and we multiply the powers. So here we're going to have 3 multiplied by negative 4. So our final answer is 5 raised to the power of negative 12. This will be our final law in this video. However, in the next video, we will be looking at inverting base, which is a next law that is very important when we're doing laws of indices. In this law, the base is raised to a fraction. Now, when the base is raised to a fraction, the number that is in the numerator will represent the index, and the number in the denominator will represent the root. Now, for example, if you're asked to find the value of 25 raised to the power of half, then we're going to have 25. Now, we can draw the root first. Now, the 25 is going to be the base. The number that is in the numerator is going to tell us the index, and the number that is in the denominator is going to tell us the root. So since this is 2, then therefore we know that this is a square root sign. Alright? So all we need to do here is to find which number, when we multiply it, or we square it, it's going to give us 25. Very good, that number is 5. When we square 5, we get 25. So the root is going to cancel the square, so our final answer is 5. Let's see if we can do a next example here. We're asked to find the value of 27 raised to the power of 1/3. All we need to do is to remember that we can write the root first. We know that the 27 is going to be the base. The number in the numerator is going to give us the index, and the number in the denominator is going to give us the root. So we know for this example we have the cube root. Now, to find the value here, all we need to do is to find a number when we cube it, we get 27. Now, which number when we cube it, we get 27? Very good, that's 3. Because 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3 will give us 27. So the cube root, let's write back the cube root. Now we have 3 raised to the power of 3. Now the cube root will cancel the cube. So our final answer here is 3. Alright, so let's take a look at 2 more examples. Now we have 9 raised to the power of 2 over 4. Now, as we said before, we can write the root. So now here we're going to have 9, which is the base. The number in the numerator is going to tell us the index, and the number in the denominator is going to tell us the root. So here we have the fourth root. Now 9 squared will give us 81. Now here, to find the final answer, all we need to do is to find which number, when we multiply it by itself 4 times, we'll get 81. Now which number will that be? Very good. If we multiply 3 by itself 4 times, our answer will be 81. So therefore we can rewrite this now as the fourth root, 3 raised to the power of 4. Now the root is going to cancel, the fourth root is going to cancel the fourth power, so our final answer here is 3. Now for the second example, we can just go ahead, since we know that the power is a fraction, we write the root. Now the base is going to be 8, and the number in the numerator is going to be the index, and the number in the denominator is going to tell us the root. So we have the cube root here. So all we need to do now, the cube root, 8 squared is the same thing as 64. Now which number, when we multiply it by itself, now this condition is down to which root that we're working with. So since we have the third root, or the cube root, we need to find a number that when we multiply it by itself 3 times, we get 64. Now which number, when we multiply it by itself 3 times, we get 64? Very good. When we multiply 4 by itself 3 times, we get 64. So therefore we rewrite this as the cube root, 4 raised to the third power, is equal to 64. So here all we're going to do, the cube root is going to cancel the third power. So our final answer is 4. Thank you guys for watching this video. Tune in next time for part 2 of this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below.